Good evening, Queens. I wanted to come tonight to do our Talk About It Tuesday. Our topic for this week stems off of what we talked about last week, which was mental health. We saw the numbers, we talked a little bit about mental health and how it affects women more so than men. The numbers are actually alarming. Sorry. First of all, let me say I hope that you had a beautiful day. I hope that you had a prosperous day. And I hope that you had a blessed day. Again, this is the day that the Lord has made, so let us be glad and rejoice in it. So let's get started with our topic for this week. This week we're talking about the word no. And taking it a little further, what Lachey said is it's not just a word, it is a full, complete sentence. And I agree with that. I agree with that statement that she made, because sometimes we think that we have to explain ourselves. When we say no, we feel bad, we feel guilty about saying no to the other person. So we feel like, okay, well, if I say no, then I need to give them an explanation. And that's just not true. We do not have to, excuse me, unless it's our husbands or basically that's it. Unless it's our spouse, we don't have to explain ourselves to anyone else. If we say no, then that's all we have to say. We don't have to say, well, it's because I got this going on and that going on, or I'm tired or whatever. We don't have to say any of that, because it's up to us to guard our time. It's up to us to make sure that we are in good shape, physically as well as mentally. So we want to talk a few minutes about the word no. Now, oftentimes the word no, the atmosphere, what it centers around, or people see it as, is something negative. They see it as a negative word. So we get anxious when we have to say no to someone. We get nervous. We stress about it. How am I going to say it? What am I going to tell them? What if they think this? How are they going to take it? And that's just undue stress that we're putting on ourselves. It is so unnecessary, because when we're taking time to make sure that our time is ours and that we're not overcommitting ourselves, because again, women are twice as likely to suffer from mental health, depression, anxiety. So we don't need to put undue pressure on ourselves, undue stress, because we're trying to please other people. And the way that I always look at it is, it's God first, family, and then everybody else. If someone is unhappy with that formula, then I'm sorry, not trying to be mean, but this is the way that I've had to look at it, is it really does not matter if someone is trying to demand my time and they cannot understand that. After God, family, then they come after that. I say, like Dave Ramsey says, he talks about bills that should be below the line. Well, I say, when it comes to my time, it's God and family, and everyone else is below the line. So that's where I wanted to start. I believe that God gives all of us wisdom to know what things we should be saying yes to and what things we just need to say no, I cannot commit to that. This took me a long time to get to, and the reason it took me so long is because we think that, okay, if someone comes to us and they ask for our help, we're obligated to say yes to them. Or we think, well, I wouldn't be being a good Christian if I say no. Because if someone comes to me and they need something, then I should be saying yes. And what I'm talking about is, I'm not just talking about saying no to our time, although that's the main thing we're talking about. But I'm also saying no to other requests, such as money, saying no to so time, resources, and other things that may come up. And I know that sounds a little mean, but this has taken me a long time to realize. We have to make wise decisions. God did not say that just because we are his children that it's everything goes. whoever comes to us for whatever, it's a yes. We're yes people. That's not what God said. So going back to our time. Now, the benefits from saying no or learning to be disciplined enough to say no, that's one of the benefits. But the other benefits is your energy. You have more energy because you're not overextending yourself. You're not tired. You're not waking up, starting the day running because you have too many things on your to-do list and ending the day so tired that your mind doesn't shut down when you lay down. You have so many things going on that your mind is constantly running even when you're trying to rest at night. God says that we are supposed to have sweet sleep, and we can't have sweet sleep if we're constantly thinking about the next thing that we are committed to doing, the next project, the next committee. When we have too much going on, we're less productive. And so we think, okay, well, I'm more productive because I can multitask, and that's just not true. We may be multitasking, but nothing is getting 100% of us. Nothing is getting 100% of who we are. If we operate in excellence, we can't be spread so thin that, okay, well, I got 50 projects, so I'll touch each one of them, and throughout the week. But we come to the end of the week and nothing was completed. That's not working with a spirit of excellence. And I'm not just talking to you ladies, I'm talking to myself, because I am a task person. I'm task oriented, and I have to have lists. And oftentimes I have so many things going on. I sit down at the beginning of the week and I write out my list. And by Wednesday, I'm pulling my hair out because I'm thinking, okay, I don't have time to get all this stuff done. Okay, solution is I can get up at this time in the morning before daylight. And if any of you know me, I'm not a morning person, so I have to have coffee. I get up, talk to Jesus for a little while, and I'm going to say, ignore what he tells me, because what I mean by that is, if he tells me, okay, these are the things that I want you to get done in this day, then I'm like, okay, no, Lord, I can fit more in. I know you said to accomplish these things, but I got this whole list I'm working off of. And if I don't get that list done, then I think, okay, something that our pastor was saying one day, I'm not getting off track, this has everything to do with what I'm talking about. He said he had to realize that because he made his own schedule, it is him, he was putting undue pressure on himself. And so Kenny always reminds me of that message that we heard because we were listening to it together. He always reminds me, you make your own schedule. So if you are stressed out, it's not because of anybody else, it's because of you. So when I make my little to-do list, I have to make sure that I don't put, okay, well, I got to get 50 things accomplished in this week, because that's just not possible. Well, it is. I could if I stayed up most of the night, which I was doing at some point. And I had to get to the place where I realized you can't do that because you're burning yourself out. So in making our list and deciding whether or not we want to be committed to certain things, we have to be wise. We have to pray about these decisions. We have to stop being those yes, yes, yes people. And someone comes and asks you, okay, well, can you help me with this? Can you do that? Can you join this thing? Can you come to that meeting? Instead of immediately saying yes, take a step back and say, okay, look, I need to pray about it, or I need some time before I give you a response, before you answer. As simple as that. And that'll give you an opportunity to look at what you already have going on and decide from there, okay, can I do this? The questions that you need to ask yourself, is adding this activity going to take away from my time with God? That includes your devotion, your study time, your worship time. That includes all of your time with God. Not just, well, is it going to interrupt my church time? No, is it going to interrupt all of your time or any of your time that you have set aside for God? Number two, if it doesn't, okay, number two, is it going to take away from my family commitments? Because we can't get so far into pleasing everyone else that, example, I got so many things going on outside the home. I see Kenny in passing, and I guarantee he won't be happy with that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll see you. Let me pencil you into my schedule. That's not okay, because my family is my first ministry. And let me take a side note on that. When I say time for God, I don't mean every church ministry. I had to learn that. There was a point in my life when I was over so many ministries in church that my children were part-time, meaning I would work a full-time job, get home, see my children for maybe an hour or two, and then I was off to do something else because I had overcommitted myself. And that's not okay with God either. Yes, he wants us to work in the kingdom, but not so much that our family is falling by the wayside. And there may be some who disagree with that, but I have learned through prayer and through my relationship with God that he does not require us to sacrifice our family to be part of every committee or every ministry. Yes, he does want us to work in his house, but not at the expense of losing our first ministry. So that's what I mean by that. So, but yes, so if it does not interrupt anything time-wise, devotion, study, worship time with God. Second, does it take away from my family commitments? If it doesn't, and you can do this extra task or extra committee without dropping something else or without being less productive with something else, then I would say yes. But again, that takes more than a split-second response. That takes you going home, looking at your commitments, praying about it, seeing if Jesus wants you to do it, and then getting back to the person. So if anyone comes to you and they want you to make a split-second, on-the-spot commitment, that is not the thing for you to do. And if they don't understand, maybe that's something that you should be saying no to. So if we are careful about guarding our time, we'll have more energy. We'll be more rested because we're not staying up for hours on end, sleeping on it 4 or 5 hours. If you're naturally, a person who only needs that amount of time, then yes. But I'm talking about for those people who need 6, 8, 10 hours of sleep. Next, if you learn to say more often, you'll have more time. Not just time for your godly commitments or your family, but time for yourself. We all need that me time. We all need time and space for ourselves. Why? It's important to refresh, to have that time where it's just you. Maybe you love to read. Time to read a good book. Maybe you're like me. I don't consider writing work. When I write, it is a time for me to have to myself. I think while I write. Even it's weird because as I'm writing, I think about other things while writing at the same time. Other writers may understand that. But so when I write, it's my time for me. And then maybe you don't write, maybe you don't read. There are other things that we do that we are able to refresh. Now, side note, I am an introvert. I need to be away from people to refresh, to get my energy back. So if I go too many days and I've been just inundated with being around people, it doesn't mean that I hate people, but it means I need that space and that time to refresh. So if you're one of those people, you definitely do not want to give away your me time. You want that time to refresh and so that you can be your best for other people. The other thing it will do is give you more control over your life, over your days. If you're so committed to so many different things, so many different projects, meetings, committees, ministries, you have no control over your life. You're at the expense, or what's a better word? You're at the disposal of everyone else. Everyone else controls your time. And that's not the best place to be, because eventually you'll get so frustrated and you're just going to explode. You're going to want to give up everything because you've overcommitted yourself and you haven't thought wisely about your decisions. And so you're just going to want to throw your hands up because you're too stressed out to even think to be of any good to anyone else. So that's the third benefit that saying no does for us. And what we have to remember is people will demand your time without any thought about you. And what I mean by that is if someone needs help and they know you're good at doing that particular thing they need help in, they don't think first, okay, well, let me first think about, what does she already have going on? Will she have time? Will this take away? They don't think about any of that. Believe me, they do not. They're thinking about what they need. So if it's something that they want from you, they're going to take. So what you have to remember is you are in control of your time. So it's up to you to say no. It's up to you to say, hey, look, no, you're not going to overcommit me. Hi, Sharonda. Nice to have you. You're not going to overcommit me. I am going to set the limits on my time so that in the end, I don't get so frustrated and it affects my relationship with you, because then I end up upset with you because you've asked me to commit something that I knew that I couldn't commit to begin with, but I only did it because I wanted to please you. So to avoid messing up relationships, we have to be wise in what we choose to say yes to. And a side note to that, the people who are the guiltiest of causing us to be overcommitted, they are our loved ones and our friends. Love them, but they are the ones who put us in those positions the most frequently. We have to learn to say no. And this has been something hard for me to get to, but I've had to. And because I'm the one who's I'll say no, I'm not going to keep committing myself because I have things going on that I want to accomplish and I can't keep carrying everyone else's things. But then, then I feel guilty. I'm like, well, if I don't do it, then who are they going to have to help them? Do you think that they're thinking the same things? No, they're just glad that I stepped up like I always do without any thought to how it affects me. So sometimes we have to be selfish and we have to say, look, my time is my time. It's not for you to commit me to something, and I have the right to say no. Yes, it's okay to say no and not feel guilty about it. People will try to make you feel guilty, but it's okay to say no. It's your time. And time is something that we can't get back. We can give money to people and we can make it back, but time is not something we can get back. We won't ever see this day again. We've never seen it before, and we won't ever see it again after today. So guard your time like, this is silly, but guard your time like you guard your edges. And my brown sisters will understand that. So we have to be very picky with what we commit ourselves to. And it's not just for our physical health and our mental health, but it's also for our spiritual health. Because if we're so committed to other people and being people pleasers and being yes women, that we're just not operating in excellence, and we're not operating in the best that we should be doing. Is that an opportunity that you need to be taking? No. Is that something that, for instance, if you're trying to help someone out and it's taking your time, and did you go to God and ask God if he wants you to do that? Or did you just say, well, this seems like the godly thing to do, the Christian thing to do, so let me just step up and do it? Maybe God has something else in mind for that person. Maybe he's trying to take them somewhere and you keep getting in the way because you keep trying to be their savior. You keep trying to help them out when God is saying, no, I need you to step out of my way. Yeah, they may, have a hard time or they may struggle for a little bit, but step out of my way. You're not their savior. You're not the one who died for them. That's just a bonus for you. But so let's pray about all of the decisions that we make and remember that it's not up to us to say yes to everyone and to save everyone's day or to make it happen. It's not our place, because we will run into a brick wall and we will not be able to fulfill the obligations that God has given us to do. So ladies, I wanted to take a few minutes. I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time tongue-tied. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about that. And I wanted to share my heart on why it's important for us to learn to say no and to get your thoughts. If you have any more thoughts on this topic, then you can comment on this video link or the link that I shared earlier about Talk About It Tuesday. So the other thing, I have an event coming up this weekend. It is at the marketplace, the Shrine Marketplace. It's We Buy Black Marketplace. I will be there this Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. If you are local in Houston, I would love for you to join me. We have t-shirts still available. We have mugs. We have my book, A Crown of Beauty for Ashes. And we also have journals and pens, as well as different quotes that I use in my social media postings. If you want any of those, you can send me a message. I will be posting those throughout the rest of the week so that you can see some of the ones that I have. And exciting news, I have not shared this with anyone on my personal page. Only those close to me know about this. I also shared it in a few of my podcasts, but I wanted to tell you ladies that I did a book collaboration with a group of other authors, and I am so excited. My part was submitted a month ago, and hi Laquana, and thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. The editor has all of our sections for the book, so we are anxiously waiting for it to be compiled so that we can start promoting the book. It's called Broken Chains. So excited about that. And another book project that I'm currently working on is with Kenny. It's for a couples book. I am super excited about this because this will be his debut. He is also writing his first personal book, as well as working on our couples collaboration. So I don't know if he wanted me to share that, but anyway, I am super excited, not just for the couples book, but also for his first book. So just prayers on all of the things that we have in the works right now. And I have more exciting things to come, but I will keep the lid on those things for right now. But I wanted to thank you ladies for joining me and to remind you that you are a queen. Nothing anyone says or does will change that status. So embrace your queen status, walk in your purpose, love who you are, and know that as the daughter of the king, you are royalty, and you don't have to accept anything less than God's best for you. Thank you ladies for joining me tonight. Love you all and look forward to chatting with you about this subject this week. Talk About It Tuesday, saying no. Thanks ladies. Have a good evening.